So in the previous video, we have seen thread class constructors. Okay, we have seen what is thread group, how you can get a name of a thread, how you can set a name of a thread, how you can set a name of a thread group, how you can get a name of a thread group. Okay, what is runnable? We have already seen this. So now we will see about thread priorities. In Java, every thread has a priority. By default, a thread inherits the priority of a thread that constructed it. For example, this is my main thread, okay, and this is a child thread. So whatever was the priority of main thread will be the priority of the child thread, okay. It will inherit the properties of the thread that constructed it. Fine. The second point is default priority of a main thread is 5. So the default priority of the main thread is 5. So the child thread will also have a default priority of 5. Fine. Now you can increase or decrease the priority of any thread with the help of set priority method. We will see this in the code. Which method? Set priority method. But the condition is you can set the priority to within a range, and this range is 1 and 10. So 1 is the min priority and 10 is the max priority. Okay, so 1 here is the min priority and 10 here is the max priority, and we also have a normal priority that is nothing but 5. Okay, if two threads have the same priority, then it depends on the thread scheduler which thread it will execute. Now if my thread scheduler is using priority algorithm, primitive priority algorithm, okay, so based on priority it will give the chance of thread to execute. So if one thread has 1 priority and another thread has 7 priority, obviously the chance will be given to 7 priority. If both the threads have same priority, then again it is not, we cannot expect the output. Then again we cannot expect the output. It depends on the scheduler which thread it will give the chance to execute. Okay, the next points are, this is the set priority method. So that sets the priority of the thread. It sets the priority of the thread. The priority must be between thread main priority and thread max priority. Use thread normal priority for normal priority. Okay, now second is static int main priority is the minimum priority, the value is 1. This is for your notes. Static int max priority, so the value is 10, and the normal priority value is 5. Now what we have to do is we have to simply write few lines of code, and we will use these all methods, that is set priority, then we will use the min priority, max priority also. Okay, let's see this. So this is my thread priority demo class, and here we have a child thread priority which extends threads. Okay, so just finish the child one first. So sout system.out.println thread dot current thread dot get name, so the name of the thread plus, or we can say equal to, we can also get thread dot current thread. Now to get the priority of a current thread, the function is get priority. Just make a note of it, the function is get priority. Okay, and here I will simply just write a normal code for int I equals to 0 to I less than 1000 I plus plus. Fine, and here we will simply print child thread priority. Okay, now after this we will go to our main function. In the main function we will define something else. So let's see, so plus I. Then let's go to our main function, and here first thing what you have to do is you have to create an object of the child thread priority. Okay, ct equals to new child thread priority. Fine, then we can actually print the current thread. This is the same line that I have written below. So thread dot current thread dot get name, what is the name of the thread that is currently being executed. So since there is no ct dot start till now, so there is only one thread that is currently being executed, and that thread is nothing but the main thread. And what is the default priority of the main thread? It is what? The default priority of the main thread is 5. Okay, now ct, let's use the set priority method, and if I do 15, so what do you think will happen if I give a priority in the range about 10? So there is no compile time error. Okay, so there is no, if it has been a compile time error, for example like this, so if I do this, so here you can see I have a compile time error. So there is no compile time error, but there will be a runtime error. So let's see that error first. What will be the runtime error if I go beyond the range of priorities? Okay, let's see that error first. So the error here is illegal argument exception. Just make a note of it. If you go beyond the priority limit, it will be illegal argument exception. Okay, if I just do it 7, so there will be no error. Fine, so for int I equal to 0 to I less than 1000 I plus plus. Similarly, as I have done below, I will simply, what is the error here? Okay, one second, semicolon. Now I will simply print system.out main thread, and I. Okay, so this is done. So now there will not be any error. Let's see which thread is running. Okay, so here you can see the main thread is at the end, and we will have a child thread in between and a main thread in between, so they are running alternatively. So main thread priority is 5, so this first line is printing get name main equal to 5. Then it is printing thread 0 equals to 7, so it is coming here after main, the first line. Before ct.start there is just one thread, so it is printing that. After ct.start we have two threads, so it is coming here and it is printing the child thread name, that is the default name thread 0 equals to 7, the priority which I set here. Okay, then again it is going back to the main thread and it is executing the main thread. Then in between it is going to child thread, so it is simultaneous. It is actually, for human eye it is simultaneous, but for computer it is scheduling these two threads, the child thread and main thread, and here are the priorities. Fine, so this was priority. We've seen get priority, we have seen the set priority, we have also seen the minimum priority, that is 1, the maximum priority is 10, and if you go beyond the maximum priority then it will show us an illegal state argument exception. Okay, illegal argument exception. Okay, so this was nothing but thread priorities. Next, what we are going to see, the if I am running a thread, how can I pause a thread in between? For example, if I am running the main thread 1000 times, how can I pause that thread in between for some time? Okay, we will see three methods for that: yield, wait, and sleep. Okay, and these three methods will add some more states into our thread state diagram. Okay, so next we will see that. So methods used to pause thread execution. Okay, so we can pause the thread execution by using three methods, using following methods, and there are yield, join, and sleep. Yield, join, and sleep, all these methods are present in our thread class. So this is an important question. So in how many ways can you pause a thread execution? There is yield, join, and sleep. Okay, pause, not completely end it, but pause it, just pause it. Okay, there is yield, join, and. So let's see yield method now. Okay, so what is yield method? So this method causes the current execution thread to pause. The currently executing thread will pause. Okay, if there are other runnable threads with a priority at least as high as the priority of this thread, they will be scheduled next. Now what is the meaning of this? Let's see what is the meaning of this line. So for example, my ct1 thread is currently executing. ct1 thread is currently executing with a priority of 5. And in my queue I also have ct2, ct3, and ct4. Okay, ct4, all these also have a current priority of 5. All these have a priority of 5. So if I use .yield method, so it will stop and the scheduler will check the priorities at least as high. The scheduler will check that the priority at least as high as the priority of this thread. So whose thread priority is at least as high as this? So it should be at least, it can be equal or it can be high. Okay, it will check, scheduler will check. So if it checks that C2 priority is actually equal to 5, C3 priority is also equal to 5, C4 priority is also equal to 5. Now it can schedule any of these three threads for execution. Okay, so if there are other runnable threads with a priority at least as high as the priority of this thread, they will be scheduled next. Fine, and after this it will again come back to here. It will join the queue and someone else will run. Okay, so if there are no waiting threads or all the threads have the lower priority, then the same process can start the execution again. Okay, if all these have the lower priority than this, then the scheduler, what it can do is, if it follows the algorithm of priority, then it can again schedule the same thread. Okay, for multiple waiting threads of the same priority, now it depends on the scheduler. So this is the signature public static. What is the meaning of native? That it is not implemented in Java. Okay, the code is not in Java. So public static native void yield. Some OS won't provide proper support for yield method as it depends on underlying scheduler. So it actually depends on the underlying scheduler, as we have seen in this line. So some OS won't provide proper support for yield method. Fine. So this was our diagram. Now due to yield, one more transition is there. So the transition is this. So whenever I am running and a thread.yield occurs, so I will go back to the ready state. Now from here, here I have these ct1, ct2 that I have explained before in this state in the queue. Here it will check whose priority is at least as equal to the priority that of the thread that is just yielded. Okay, if we have such priority, then they will be scheduled. If we do not have such priority, then CT1 will be scheduled again. So this was yield method. As you can see here, yeah, this is the simple code that I have written for the yield. Here we have a child yield demo which is performing this child yield demo job, and here it's simple of main thread. Now main thread is yielding, but the problem is it does not depend on the code. It depends on the underlying algorithm. Okay, so main thread, and in between you will get a child thread. So after running one time, main thread yielded. So since main thread yielded and both the priorities are 5, so child yield demo will occur. Okay, but in between again you will see a main thread. The reason being they are running simultaneously. Sometimes main thread will come in between. Okay, but the case was after just one time the main thread yielded. Okay, and after that it checked whose priority was greater or at least equal to the main thread. Okay, so this was yield method. So in this video we have seen the yield method and our thread priorities. What are the priorities of our thread, how to get that priority, how to set that priority, what is the minimum value of the priority, what is the maximum value of the priority. You should remember all these. Okay, and what is the error you will get across the range of the maximum priority, what is the error you will get. Okay, so all these questions should be there, and this yield method is used to pause the thread execution for a particular time. Okay, yield method is used to stop or pause the thread execution. Fine. So in the next we will see the join and the sleep method as well.